little bit west of Waitera, so in that vicinity of down there, and it's...
And for those viewers of ours at Stewart Island, that's not far from Whangarei, is that right?
Yeah, approximately 18. We're approximately 18 miles from Whangarei, I think, at that stage. So 30k from Whangarei.
Great name for the stud, Danny. Snake Gully. Where does that come from?
Oh, it came from an old uncle that used to come and see us as kids, and said he just come from down the gully. And I always said that if I formed a stud, it would be Snake Gully, and that all came from Dad and Dave in those old days.
Oh, yeah.
Dad and Dave program in Australia. Yeah. That was on every night, a bit like Coronation Street now.
Now the Limousins, where did that start?
That started up with going to the Hamilton Field Days. And
1983 that was.
83, yeah. And I saw this calf tied up there at the stall and said, that's the sort of animal I want to breed. And just went on from there. And 6 months later, and started thinking about buying bulls, I said, I wonder if that animal's still around. It was a big calf at that stage. And so I ended up going down to the property and came home with 3 of them.
Not a bad day.
Not a bad day when you went to get one, yeah. I'd had Shorthorn bull and Hereford bulls and Simmental bulls, but, never took to them, put it that way. They didn't fulfil my ambition of what a beef cow looked like.
So what's your idea of a good animal, Danny?
Well, for a start, a beef animal is a beef animal, and they talk about they've got to be feminine and all this sort of thing. I think they've, like anything else, they've got to have a little bit of guts to them and have strength, and that's what I thought these limos had, and they had meat.
Yeah.
Muscle is meat.
How many cows did you get up to on the property in the heyday?
Oh, we got over 400 there for a while, but that was enough for the property. I tacked on another 500 acres to the 8 originally,
yeah,
and cleaned that up over a period of time.
Use the horses a bit out there?
Used the horse all the time. I like them, and they've done me good service over the years, and you never had to come home to get the tractor to pull them out like you do with these bikes.
Yeah.
Out of the mud.
A few kids in the family and a bit of calf club going on in early days.
Well, our children all had calf club, calves and everything, but ours were all a mixed deal because at that stage we were still breeding other things, so we were buying in a lot of calves for the children, and they used to milk the cow every morning and feed everything all from the one cow. But the grandchildren, when Natalie and David became involved, the grandchildren lived just up the road and they got right into it. And it wasn't very long, a few years, and they had friends that would come as well, and they had calves as well, and yeah, it was a real venture for them. And they actually have to take the credit for taking the calves to the shows and things because they did all the promotion that way for us.
Yeah. Mm. Now, daughter Natalie and her husband David on the place back where you used to be.
Yeah.
Do you think they're doing a good job at the start?
Oh, great job.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, they're doing a good job. David worked initially with Danny on the place. I think he started in 98, and then they moved down. They bought 100 acres next door to us in 2000, and yeah, they've been around the place ever since.
So whereabouts are we, Natalie?
We're Tauro side of Munkaramia, which is about 30 k's southwest of Whangarei.
So what's the size of the property here, Natalie?
Dad has 100 acres and then we have 100 acres, so it all gets run together. So yeah, there's just over 200 acres all up.
And keep you fairly busy there, and yeah, just a good size for the stud.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah. You're fairly happy running the farm here. You got husband away working.
Yes, good to keep them working.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it works well. He helps me in the weekends if I need a hand with anything extra or anything. So yeah, no, it's good.
And a couple of young fellas on the scene.
Yes. Sean is at, he's down in Hunterville at Otawoody Station at the moment. He's in a cadet down there.
He'll be still recovering from the schmozzle.
Yes, I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
And and Brady's still at school. He's year 11.
The kids have been involved with the calf club?
Yes.
Is it quite strong?
Yes, it is, really. yeah, they've done it well. This is the first year that we haven't had any of the kids do it, but no, they've really done well with it. They've worked hard at it, and and they've enjoyed taking them through, and yeah.
So how many breeding cows here altogether?
60.
And you got the older shearers here?
Yeah, these are the earlier calvers.
And good calving?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Yep, no, it all went well.
So you've got some nice bulls up the top there.
Yes, those are my boys.
Yeah, and they look fairly hungry. Plenty of tucker there this year?
Yes, no, it's giving away good at the moment.
Yeah.
So we were short at the beginning of winter.
Yeah.
And but no, it's come back good.
Yeah. Now, what do you like about the Limousins? Apart from the fact that Dad likes them.
No, I just like them as a breed, and having dealt with them for years and that, it's, I like their structure and their temperament and, everything about them, really.
Yeah, lots of meat.
Yeah. So, no, they're nice.
So how does the program work with it? You've got the heifers down the road at Danny's. How does that all tie in?
I have them here. I wean everything, and then normally about the time of the sale in June, I have the heifers back from Dad's, the 2-year-olds ready to calve, and then the young ones will go over.
So you're scoring on the temperament, Natalie?
Yes, we do. So they all get temperament scored at weaning time, and that's for their figures.
Yeah.
But as a rule, they're all very good.
You've sort of got that job done now, because initially they might have had a bit of a name as being a little bit toey, way back.
Definitely, yes, definitely. But we don't have any problems at all.
The biggest problem you'd have would be waking those heifers up, wouldn't it?
No, they're good. They all are. I don't have any issues with any of my cows. No, they're all good.
In the early days, temperament was a problem. Some people were selling cattle that should never have gone near a yard. They should have gone to the works. But the temperament is damn good now, and people that want to knock them can only use the temperament because all their other qualities and characteristics you couldn't get better.
Fairly strong breed around other parts of the world, Bethany.
Yes, it is. Yes, in the UK, it's 30% of the cattle have got Limousin blood in them, and they're very, very popular over there, and they demand very high prices. When we developed the stud, we'd already been using Limousin bulls from 84 through to 89, and we decided to go full French, which meant that all our bloodlines had to be full French pure, whereas a lot of other breeders have started from other breeds of cattle and they've graded up so that they've got halves and 3/4 and all that thing. Well, we already had some of those on the property, and it was going to be too hard to go back and register them, so we just stuck to the full French. We bought from the national sales. We bought from the Benmore and Invergie studs from the South Island, and it was very slow. You couldn't get good quality cattle, and that was when we decided to lease 3 females from Steel Roadley, and we started an intensive AI and ET program. And one of those, Sterling Cherie, ended up being the matriarch of the herd. We flushed her several times, and she had enormous fertility. She was very correct, not overly big cow, but very, very structurally correct and great nature, and a real firm family favourite.
Been in the game for a while, Tim?
Yeah, we sort of kicked off our stud about 5 years ago and been working along quietly. And, I'm quite pleased with the breed. I've got a lot of time for them, yeah.
Quite close to the coast. What's the area called, Tim?
This is called the Glenleddy area.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got a pretty cool climate in the spring.
Pretty cool climate today.
It is, all right, yeah.
Yeah, and what are you running here?
I'm running about 3,800 stock units on about 385 hectares.
So what do you like about the Limousins?
Yeah, they've got that unique meat yield gene. You're getting something for nothing there.
That big fella, what would he weigh?
Oh, he'd be 900 odd kilos today, I'd say, yeah.
So was it hard work finding heifers and cows when you started up your own stud?
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to get a hold of some off Danny 4 years ago, and I've been really happy with those cattle.
How many did you start with?
About 8.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been just ticking away quietly,
Yeah.
trying to keep the standard up. You know, the breed's renowned for sort of 60 to 65% yields, and you know, that's the sort of direction I'm heading on this farm. Anything that I fatten, probably hoping to get 60% plus yields.
And you've done a few trials there?
Yeah, we killed 3 steers at Silver Fern Farms last year, and yeah, there was a Hereford Friesian. He went 54.5% yield, and a Limo Angus went 57.3, and also a 3/4 Limo was up to 61.5% yield.
It's a big margin there, isn't it?
So there is a big range there, yeah.
So Tim, not a lot of Limousins about, as opposed to some of the other exotic breeds, numbers-wise?
No, they're sort of more of a minority breed. I think there's something like 900 registered cows in New Zealand. So there's probably no reason for them, not to increase the numbers a bit from now on, as long as you keep the quality up.
But all that meat in the right places would be good if you got paid on the yield, Tim.
Well, yeah, we're hoping it's going to happen within the next few years. That's why I sort of got stuck into them last year, and we've just got to hope that it happens. Yeah, it's coming, but sooner rather than later would be good for me. So, I'm quite positive about the future of the Limousin breed.
Maurice Brownlee, you've been farming here in the Mungakaramea district for quite some time.
Yes, I first come here in about 1959, I think, to work here as a boy, and I think it was about 72 or something like that when I first seen it must have been about when the first semen come through, and about 74 or something like that, I seen the first bullocks that were half-bred Limousin. And gestation period was a big problem in the beginning, and the temperament of the first purebred cattle that come into New Zealand probably had a lot to do with frightening people off. Unless you really loved your cattle and things like that, you'd shy away from them, and that's what happened in the early days. The snake belly stud have always gone trying to get those cattle quiet, and they've looked at the gestation, and I think things have changed a lot over the years.
A lot of success in earlier days with the carcass competitions, Maurice, so you must have had them yielding fairly well.
I did win the national with a big bullock one year.
Good day for you.
It certainly was, yeah. They certainly have the meat on them, the Limousin. I had cattle that were yielding really high, and that was what I had aimed at all my life, is grow an animal with a lot of meat on it. And I've actually had a little bit to do with the butchering trade too, so I know where the best cuts come from. And extra meat that's on a Limousin animal or any real good beef animal. And in the days when I was winning the competitions, I can remember my cattle getting into the 70% yield. In the competition and competing reasonably fiercely,
Yeah.
I did use crossbred as well as my purebreds, and I put different crosses in just to try them out. I feel that young people learn more by seeing a carcass hanging up, and they can look at the whole beast and get an idea how much more meat's on the Limousin than you'll find off other breeds of cattle.
So the Limousins carry an interesting gene, Danny.
Yes, it's called the F94L gene they've discovered, and I've read that 98% of Limousins carry it, and it delivers more meat on the primal cuts, up to 19% more than the average animal.
It's got to be good.
It's got to be very good for the end retailer to get that extra meat, and the works, of course, processors. It's a top gene, and very few of the other breeds have got it. There is the odd one or two in the other breeds that have got that gene in them, but not a very, very low percentage.
So hoof and hook, you like that competition back in the day?
Yes. Yes, it was very good in my opinion, and everybody knew, I know myself, that in the early days, cattle come in that I thought were pretty good, but when they lined them up on the hook, they didn't come out any good at all. So, it taught you how to judge an animal, and which cattle had the eye muscle, the eye fillet, the sirloin and on all that part, all those decent cuts, and that's really what it was all about.
You think the judging's changed a bit over the years?
Well, it has. In New Zealand here, we've gone backwards. Limousin won 75% of the prizes the last year. So they cut it out. Limousin killed the competition, full stop. I'll say that anywhere.
So they don't want you guys in there anymore?
No, they got rid of us. So they changed the rules.
I see the Limousins still holding their own there in the Stake of Origin, Danny?
Yes, yep, they're up there all the time. And 2 years ago in 2010 that Kathy Child and Yvonne, her sister, won the competition with a Limousin Angus cross animal. So they're still doing the bit.
Yeah.
And will continue to.
Now, Bruce, you've had a bit to do with the team there at Snake Gully Limousins.
I have, with Danny and Bethany and Natalie and Dave and the grandsons, of course, and it is very much a team. Yes, I have. I've sold at their sale for the last 5 or 7 years.
Now, they've done fairly well over the years in the carcass competitions.
They have. Danny was obviously a very, very good commercial farmer. He got into Limousins. He was a very, very loyal supporter of the carcass competitions in the 80s and 90s, had a great deal of success, but was very frustrated with the freezing industry and the companies involved that they wouldn't entertain any yield payment, Tony. It's a known fact that the Limousin is a real carcass breed. The genetics he's brought in from England and Australia and Flushing in Australia. Him and Bethany have spent a lot of money and they're very, very passionate. Certainly had lead time genetics and outcross that haven't been available to other people in New Zealand, and hence this year, 2012, we sold substantial number of his draft of 2010 born for stud duties. The bread and butter of Danny's business is commercial farmers, and most of them are repeat. So it tells you that the cattle are doing a very, very good job, and both genetically and temperament wise, and the people that are buying them are getting very, very good results with them.
Phil Godin, farming here in the King Country. Where are we, Phil?
We're in a valley called Parahika Valley, which is a place called Aria, and which is 50 k's southwest of Tikawiti.
Yep.
Okay, we're farming 850 hectares here, which 650 effective.
Fairly steep sort of country too, isn't it?
It's it is quite steep. We're farming 3,000 Romney ewes and 230 breeding cows.
Yep.
And we're finishing all our progeny.
You sourcing a few bulls from Snake Gully there on the Limousin front?
Yeah, we are. We have been for 12 years. Getting our bulls from the Snake Gully. Probably had Limousins through our herd for the last 20 years. Longevity is a great thing with these bulls. We've got breeding bulls now up to 9-10 years old, and the cows in our herd are having good calves through to the 14-15 years old.
That's not too good for Danny.
No, I suppose it's not, but I guess that's why we keep going back, because great structurally sound cattle, great feet and all good udders in the cows.
Getting a bit of weight on those bulls?
Yeah, we are. We leave our bull calves as bulls, and we're killing them by, first of them going out by 16 months, killing before the second winter, averaging about pretty close to 300 kilos every year on them. With the high dressing out percentage of the Limousins, it means once you get them to 520 kilograms live weight, they're going to be doing around that 300 kilos, so it's a great efficiency.
Now you're tagging everything at birth and recording them right through just for your own purposes.
Yep. It means you can track all the progeny right through, and effectively we're progeny testing, I suppose. So if we've got room to cull in our breeding cows, we can drop the poor performers out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in what sort of a capacity are you using them in with the Angus?
Okay, we're probably about 80% of the calves born will be side by Limousins. We've still got our 2-year-olds are calving down to to an Angus, so that's keeping the Angus infusion in the herd. But there's no preference to what breed comes through in our herd. So whatever heifers go to the bull and get them calf, they'll be in the herd. And with the Limousin being a good moderate-sized animal, not a big animal, we find it's fine on our steep hill country, and there's no problem there. And we're getting the benefit of the hybrid vigour with the Angus and the Limousin. Yeah.
No, I've got no prejudice against black or red or anything like that, but if that's what a lot of the people want, and I'm sure the black, when I get them all homozygous polled, will throw the colour better than the red.
Well, when Danny went and purchased this cow in Australia from the Premier sale, he bought her as a cow in calf with a polled black calf at foot. She was very heavily in calf, and she showed up for this, what was it? Microplasma bovis. And so they wouldn't let her come into New Zealand. She had another bull calf on the 17th of March, and he lived there for months, and they actually, on the station, they called him Sean, but it was an E year for our registrations over here, and we called him expensive because the bills were colossal for keeping him on quarantine. It was $31 a day per animal, and it worked out about $70,000 by the time we were finished.
$70,000?
$70,000, and we still didn't get the cow, and we had to give a scientific reason for her to enter New Zealand, even though she had another test and passed and was clear. And we had to explain why she'd had the other negative one. And she had 10 embryos, but by the time we've got them on the ground here, we've only got 3.
Murray Child, on your property here at Mangakaramia, you actually do spend some time on the farm. You don't live at the dog trials?
No. Part of the year I'm home.
So some nice black bulls you got here, Murray. What are we?
Yeah, no, we got some black Limousins. Yeah, Snake Gully, Danny and Bethy O'Shea. They're stud. They've started into the black ones, and yeah, we've been pretty keen to go that way. Danny always preferred the apricot coloured, but you know we've always had Angus cows, Angus Herefords, and over the years, and we've actually tried a few of the other exotics over the years, Charolais and Simmentals, but these Limousins seem to suit our country, and they are a good breed. Danny's done a good job with the Temperament. They're the only breed that actually does a docility score, and Danny's been very fussy with that side of it, and you know they are good, quiet cattle. But they're a good meat animal, and we have done some tests, and butchers have cut them up and weighed the meat, and on some of the ones that we've done, and they weren't purebred with a Limousin Angus cross, they've yielded 6% more than other breeds, and you know when you're talking about meat to bone, it's 6% at about $15 a kilo. It does add up, you know, it's a couple of $100, and that can't be sneezed at. Be nice if we actually got paid for what we produce, and it's not that hard, and I don't care what breed it is. If they paid on the yield or improve the yield, you know, we'd all be that much better off, and paid for the meat and not the bone. And the technology is there. It's just whether or not the meat companies want to pursue that avenue.
I think the meat industry has been very poorly serviced by some of the people on the board.
Why?
I think too many of them are politicians, and they're using it as a stepping stone to something else, and they're not looking after the farmers that are doing the hard yards.
What's going to change that?
I'd like to think a bit of common sense.
For more information on the PGG Wrightson Stud Tour, visit ruraltv.co.nz and come and join us on Facebook.